Starting. Oh, look, it's live. I'm going to wait until we have more than 0 viewers.
We have 37 waiting.
We have 37 waiting?
Yeah.
Oh, look, it's live. I'm going to wait until we have more than 0 viewers.
We have 37 waiting.
Okay, yeah. Also, don't do that.
I apologize.
Did. Yeah, don't do that thing. Oh, cool. We have 21 viewers. That's awesome.
Hey, it's 10 more than the leadership meetings had.
Very nice. All right, cool. Let me open up the live events tab because I guess it closed. Go to the control room so that I can monitor the chat. Sweet. Oh, here we go. Grant giving us flack for being late. Okay, cool. Wonderful. I'll link you both the stream chat if you don't have it. All right. Hi, everyone.
Welcome.
Whichever TV you have the stream up still, I can hear myself echoing.
Something, weeb words, something.
Let's see. Apologize, people. I'm just messing up all over the place.
It's okay. All that fancy equipment, you gotta learn how to use it at some point. Cool. Well, welcome everyone to the first BronyCon All Hands meeting. Thanks for joining us on this beautiful Sunday afternoon or evening, depending on your time zone. The purpose of this meeting is for us to let you all know what's going on at a higher level of BronyCon than the leadership stand-ups cover. So the leadership stand-ups, if you weren't around last year, you don't tend to tune in for them, are held every 2 weeks and have each department head deliver an update on what's going on in their department. So you get kind of a more granular look at what's going on in the department's day-to-day. But for this meeting, we have a whole list of updates at a really high level about what's going on at the convention. So if maybe you don't have the time to tune in every 2 weeks, this might be the meeting for you if you're still curious about what's going on at BronyCon. Aside from that, so beyond the updates, we don't have enough updates to talk for a whole hour. So a lot of this meeting is focused on you. What questions and comments do you have? All three of us are down to talk about whatever you want. We have the Hangouts chat on YouTube, as I think many of you have already found. But if you can't use that for whatever reason, you can feel free to ping us in all staff. Please don't DM one of us directly because it's much more helpful if we all see what's coming in. So you can feel free to tag the chairs user group. So just type @chairs and then your question into all staff. We would prefer questions via the YouTube interface, but if you can't do that, that is a good alternative solution. So without further ado, let's start talking and updating you all on what we got. The three of us will take turns discussing the updates. You can feel free to ask questions at any point, and we will get to them as we see them. I see we already have some Joe questions, which is great. I would love to answer this one about pizza counting as an open-faced sandwich. Those we will probably save until the end, though, or whenever we run out of stuff to talk about. But anyway, let's get down to business.
The Huns are already defeated. We can skip that step.
Dex and I are immediately going to the Disney references right off the bat.
Mulan was one of the best Disney movies, or is one of the best Disney princesses. So can't say I blame you. Anyway, just a little bit of background context in case any of you have been under a rock. So 2018, when we wrapped up 2018, we also unfortunately had to announce that 2019 is going to be the last year. So we did a whole lot of PR and messaging around that. That was a huge focus in like the month after the con. And we also spent a lot of time with each department talking about how their 2018 went. So each department had their own postmortem where they talked about what went wrong, what went right, and what they're going to do differently next year. And we also all met as a group to talk through those things. That's what we did for the end of 2018. After that, we have now more or less closed the books on 2018, pending some last minute accounting and hotel work that still needs to be wrapped up with the city. But we are now firmly into 2019 territory. So Chibi, do you want to start talking about what we've been doing in 2019 so far?
Ooh, there's a lot. Let's see. Yeah, because, well, everyone here, Med, when 2018 ended, I know Chief of Staff immediately put out the intent to return form, where all departments, all staff members were told to fill out the form if they want to work for BronyCon 2019. So that's kicked off our initiative with auditing. Auditing is basically everyone who's staying on staff stays on staff. Everyone who didn't sign the form gets removed. Well, they didn't intend to return, so that's the auditing process now. So when it comes down to what we've done since then, or within like directly after 2018, was I'm losing my train of thought, and I apologize. But yeah, for auditing, it was just getting everyone all situated throughout the department, so departments know who they had to work with, who they could decide to promote to management, who they need to hire to fill the places for, and just do that. So pushing forward with that, we've also done things such as budgeting. I know Troy, who is the department head for finance, has already given all the departments their budgets. Now we're waiting on the departments to finalize where they plan to allocate each of the amounts of money towards which sections of the department. Let's pull up I can't say secretary because secretary is just secretary. Like I'll just take from knowledge I have. Events. Represent events. Woo! Anyways, so for that you allocate amounts for like the activities room, the panel rooms, Bronypalooza, for the internal and external AV. So we're just waiting to hear back from the departments for that. And so in order to put a little bit gas on the fire with this and hit the pedal a little bit faster going into 2019 to keep that momentum up was I've been putting out goalposts, or what I like to call goalposts, at a management level. Just basically just keeping an overview on things like this is where the convention should be or has the track record of being. I want to see if we can't match it, if not accelerate it past for what we have had before. Such as like department head structure, hiring, opening up applications online, budgeting, layout, rough draft. So yeah, just little things like that. To answer the question, where was it? I know it was posted somewhere. Question: does pizza count as an open face sandwich?
Let's table that one till the end. It'll be contentious.
Oh, okay.
I posted that in chat so that I didn't lose track of it, but that's an end question.
Okay, I'll save my answer then. I'll refine it.
Refine it like a nice piece of Parmesan on pizza.
Oh, absolutely. So like department heads and leadership, I'm gonna bridge that from the choosing sub-department management was how are the department heads decided, and we also announced it via the announcements and also email and who the new leadership was, is that going into 2019, we wanted to retain a lot of the department heads that we had in 2018, just to ex-nay anything that's kind of startup process. When someone takes a new position without proper transfer of knowledge, they tend to try to do new things, which creates a little bit of a structure, a growing pain, as to say. So in order to alleviate that, to make 2019 the absolute bang out thing I know we all can make, we decided to install a lot of the former department heads and keep them. One or two decided to opt out, but that's absolutely fine. Do you want me to run through the notes all by my lonesome here, Sheva?
You can do the last 2 points, then we'll switch off after that, because these lovely sections in this notes document we have makes for nice back and forth.
Okay, so
more points, and then you can be done.
So within the meetings, back last year we had department head meetings that involve the chairs, department heads, or in a different case scenario, you're looking at the deputies, people of the higher positions in the department. So what we did was on Thursdays, we would all meet up in a hangout call, discuss what we did these last 2 weeks, what we're planning on doing these last 2 weeks, and just catch everyone up to sync up across departments, such as you don't want to run into a situation where this department's waiting on hiring and this department doesn't even know that hiring is supposed to go on yet. We did this last year where we streamed like we're doing now to YouTube. Off and on, the attendance was great. We saw single-digit numbers. Absolutely, those were great. Double digits we did hit once in a blue moon. And then for this year, what we're planning on doing is just doing these all hand meetings where we just talk about it from the chairs and to everyone at once. And so we can give you more information without having to expect you to be there and watch a live stream every week. Everyone has their own lives. You don't need to be tied to your phone with BronyCon. Absolutely.
But you know, if you want to be, that's okay too.
It's encouraged, but not mandatory.
Absolutely. So just to answer a couple questions that came up in chat so far, do we have a theme yet? Stay tuned. We'll talk about that in a bit. Since BronyCon 2019 will be 4 days, will that affect the volunteer hours? Will they be longer? That's hard to say because it'll vary per department, but what I expect is that most departments, the length of the shift will stay the same, but there will be more shifts necessary. So maybe this means that we have to hire some more staffers so that we're not overworking people, or maybe it means that we put fewer people per shift for some department. But I think the volunteer commitment will probably increase a bit, but not by anything too drastic. I think that's it for the serious questions that we've gotten so far. We've gotten a couple great other joke ones that we can save for the end. Dex, do you want to start talking about some of the stuff that we've done in 2019 so far?
Yeah, sure. So, I mean, 2019, we've got a lot of things that are still gearing up since this kind of phase of the con, for those of you who, you know, don't always have that high level view, involves a lot of, hey, what can we do for next year is a big question that we're asking a lot. So, you know, in order to determine that, for example, we need to get our budgeting done. That has been completed. Each of the departments should have their budgets from finance, which allows them to, you know, begin taking that high level, what things do we want to do, and transitioning it into the cooler, can we actually afford to do this? We've got, you know, Eagle spearheading the BronyCon podcast, which I believe is Stable Geniuses now. It's being edited and has been recorded already, so keep an eye out for that. Layout for next year is looking to be starting, is that November 1st or 11th? Because I can't tell if that's an exclamation point or a 1 right there. Shava, you're I think it's November 1st. So there we go. That will be upcoming very soon. And yeah, you know, so it's all of you, you know, as noted with things like intent to return, that is kind of a transitional step, but it is part of what has been done, because that allows us to know important questions like, how many staffers do we need to recruit for next year? Grant. And yeah, Sheva, I offer to switch back to you for some of the upcoming stuff that there's a lot more that has been done, but we can't talk about yet because it's not ready for public consumption. And yeah, I'll shift it back off to you when you're ready.
Cool. Yeah. We've been getting some very good questions, so let's go through those. So we got one from Hotkey. So is it safe to say that we still don't know when opening ceremonies will be? BP has been working on lineup, but we can't do anything more until we have ideas of venue and AV scope. Yes. So honestly, I'd love to hear people's thoughts on when they think opening ceremony should be. Thursday, Friday, both? I don't know. The advantages of doing it Thursday are that we really inaugurate Thursday as the official first day of the con, which it is, and which I think would be awesome to really treat it as such. The advantages of doing it Friday is that we're just going to have more people and probably more stuff set up. So if you have thoughts on this topic, let us know. I'm certainly one of the biggest things on our plate is continuing to work through the ideas there and determine what we're going to be doing. So from Josh W. Are us board ops allowed time to grab lunch and just eat it in the panel room on shift? I don't know. You should ask your manager or the head of events.
Justin.
Yeah, that would be Justin or Insigma, or I'm not sure what the management structure for the board ops looks like in particular, but if there's a sub manager under Justin.
Yeah, Trey.
Cool. Yeah. Will the stand-up meetings still take place? And even if they're not streamed, will their notes still be available for later reading? From FizzBuzz. I think we're still planning on streaming them, just like we did last year. Even if they're not streamed, the notes will be available for later reading. We might like play around with changing the cadence of the stand-up meetings, or maybe like having like a different type of meeting that's not a stand-up. But I think we'll probably stay with the same sort of general format where the information mentioned in them is in some form public to all of staff. Okay, and then we have two less serious ones, which I'm so excited to talk about that I couldn't wait for the end, because I just found this new place near me that serves the best chicken wings I've ever had, and they only serve them from Thursday through Sunday because they're this tiny little takeout only business.
I was expecting you to go on about the donuts.
The donuts were great too.
LA pizza.
The wings are better. We can talk about pizza after the wings. Oh my god, these wings! I tell you. Anyway, the short answer is buffalo. Phoebe, what's yours?
Wait, Hawaiian, absolutely. Pineapple belongs on pizza. Fight me.
Wait, are we talking about the best kind of wing or the best kind of pizza now?
Oh.
Best kind of wing.
My mind went right to pizza ever. Yeah.
But it's okay. I kind of like Chief's answer in the context of wings.
I'm pretty sure they make Hawaiian style chicken wing. That actually tastes really good with the citrus too.
My answer is whatever is so hot that your mouth goes numb after eating it.
Ooh, that's a better answer than buffalo, actually. Like by far.
The glorious 357 hot sauce.
Oh, that's not hot enough.
Tell that to the table at Dead Dog who brought it and worshipped it. It was fantastic.
Oh, I'm not saying it's not good. I'm just saying there's hotter and spicier.
Whoops.
We'll have to try that.
I am so sorry, chat.
We have one last very official question from Hibu. When do I get my extra 15 minutes in the ball pit? We're working on that. I promise you. We have our best people on the case. I think that's it for the questions. Let me take one more look. Okay, actually, we have one more from Tiara. Is Thursday officially a full con day? The short answer is yes. The long answer is yes, but we're not going to have some stuff that we will have on Thursday, Saturday, and Sunday. So like some panel rooms, we might not have them, or some of our AV gear might not be set up yet, stuff like that. So it is a full day of the con, but it might not look exactly like what the other weekend days will look like. All right. So we also have a question from Retro. What will happen when BC 2019 is done? And that's a pretty big question. Well, what will happen is we're all going to go home and go to sleep for a week. But beyond that, I hope that we can figure out a way to keep the staff community around BronyCon together in some form, and the greater community as well. But I think that there's going to be other pony conventions for all of the attendees to go to. So what I'm really interested in is how do we keep the staff family together? So what will happen when BronyCon 2019 is done? We'll keep Slack up, or we'll move everyone over to Discord, something like that. Hopefully we'll be able to have some staff get-togethers, maybe like a staff event or something. I'm just, still in the idea brainstorming phase for all of this. And just in general, hopefully figure out a way to keep up the friendships that we've made and keep using all of the skills that we've been able to develop in our time staffing BronyCon. So, Retro, I hope that answered your question. If you have to, feel free to send them out in another message. Do we know, so there's a question from Coding Gale. Do we know if the previous security staff who sadly had family crises and couldn't attend will return, or will we onboard others? That would be a good question to ask the head of security and the deputy. So that's Dove and Goose on Slack. I'm not sure the specifics of the security returning staff reform, but they will definitely be able to answer that for you. So we have a question from Josh. If Thursday is not going to be a full con day and we need to be there on Wednesday, what will we be doing? So Thursday is going to be a full con day. It might not look like what Friday, Saturday, and Sunday will look like because, as I mentioned, we might not have all of the space, but it's going to be a full day of the event. So not everyone will need to be there on Wednesday. More staffers than in previous years will, though. So just when you think of what you're going to be doing on Thursday, think about what you did on Friday in the past year and just shift that back a day. And when you wonder what you're going to be doing on Wednesday, think about what you did on Thursday this last year and shift that back a day. And so on and so forth. Okay, final from Grant. If we build it, will they come? I don't know. Thinking face emoji.
Wait, does that mean we're going to transfer from a con to a construction company?
Hold on, you're both talking over each other. Dex, you please feel free to answer Grant's question.
The if we build it, will they come one?
Yes, please.
The answer to that is that seeing as we don't have Kevin Bacon on staff, it's kind of a toss-up there.
Okay, so we're gonna work on getting Kevin Bacon on staff then.
Or was it? No, sorry, not Kevin Bacon. Kevin Costner. There we go.
Close enough. I prefer the Bacon because
Kevin Bacon is definitely connected to more people, so 6
One says you
degrees
could
and all
trace
that.
Costner to Bacon.
Chibi, did you have something that you wanted to add to if we build it, will they come?
Oh yeah, so that means we're totally going to make BronyCon, our convention, into our construction company.
Oh.
Counterpoint also, I think that Baltimore already built it. It's like, about a half mile away from the BCC, and it's really dependent on how the Orioles are performing that year. I'm not quite so sure the city would support 2 baseball teams in that small of an area.
I don't know. Massachusetts does it, I think. Chicago does it, definitely.
Chicago's considerably bigger than Baltimore, though.
Only by several times as much. All right, from Temujin. I don't know if there are plans for any sort of new musical video or animation, but if there is, for singing. If there isn't, there should be. All staff medley. I love the idea of an all staff medley. That would be super cool. A new musical video or animation would be very cool. I have not had time to look into it so far. I don't think that anyone else is actively working on it either.
We should really push for a new musical animation like Good Morning Baltimore. That's not negotiable.
Baltimore, Chibi. Baltimore.
Close enough.
It would be very cool if we could get another one done. I had that as a note for something to look into and see if we can get somebody who's really excited about leading that project. If you're excited about leading that project and want to help out with it, then send me a message.
You spam at chairs and all staff saying, "I'll do it. I'll do it. Yes, me, please."
Oh God, that won't help your chances.
Oh, that will. That will absolutely earn you bonus points.
Sure, something like that. Okay, hold on. We have actually I kind of like this cadence. We have like a serious question and a less serious question.
This one I've claimed it already. We have been asked the most important of all Reddit AMA questions about whether we would prefer to fight 1 horse-sized duck or 20 duck-sized horses. And the obvious answer to that is you take the duck-sized horses and you don't fight them, you hug them, because this is a BronyCon and we love our equine friends, even if they're kicking us to death in the process.
I would go for the duck-sized horses too, for more or less the same reasons, actually. Plus, also, ducks are really vicious. Like just a reminder: don't mess with ducks; they will hurt you.
Especially don't mess with Canadian geese.
Canadian geese are much worse than ducks, but ducks themselves are still pretty. Yeah. Anyway, okay. From Coding Gale, can we get bacon for staff in the staff rooms? Oh my God, that would be amazing. That's a tough question. Maybe, probably not, because the Hilton has restrictions on catering and what food we can and can't bring in. I will tell you that there's usually a microwave in one of the hotels that we put staffers at. I think the Marriott has one in their lobby, and the Holiday Inn maybe has one in every room or something, on every floor. And they do make microwave bacon. I hear really good things about Costco brand microwavable bacon. So hopefully this helps some of you out in your quest for bacon during BronyCon.
If you are in the Marriott and you want bacon heated, you could take the hairdryer. I've seen this done. You take the hairdryer and you point it at a bowl, and it works.
We would like as many of you as possible to not get food poisoning and be able to work your shifts.
So in other words, don't listen to Chibi's Hackett advice in this context.
Life
You might
hacks.
also be able to use an iron. I'm not sure, but like, don't listen to me.
An iron.
You can definitely grill with an iron. I don't know about bacon, but like, if any of you try it and you survive, please report back. All right.
Like both of those are terrible ideas. I mean, if we're at least suggesting things, I would like to suggest, you know, like solid phosphorus as your heating element.
Thermite.
Thermite. I'm going to say thermite. Yeah. I'm going to a Halloween party next weekend, and we're going to make thermite. It's going to be a great time. I'm very excited.
I'm behind on my chemistry. Does thermite combust when exposed to air as well?
It's very explosive. It's great. Lots of exploding. It'll be great. Well, okay, maybe not super explosive, but definitely very, very showy and explosive-esque. Okay. Will there be a panel of memories of 2012 BC to 2019, like a slideshow of shorts? Probably. We'll probably have some sort of retrospective, some nice video, something that we can all like watch and cry really hard at. I think we'll definitely have at least one of those things, maybe more, depending on how inspired our photography and design departments are feeling. But I expect we will have some retrospective content. From Amethyst, will they bring back old BronyCon pins? I only have the 2018 one. I don't know, but I've actually been really hoping that that's something we can do. It might lose like the exclusivity of past years. I'm not sure. I'd have to talk with the design department about it, but I think that's definitely an interesting thing to look into, because I'm also missing a pin from 2013. My set's complete aside from that, but I would pay a lot of money to be able to get some of the older pins. Okay. I think. Oh no! Hold on. We got one more serious question. From Mac. Yes. I hope that answered the question. So we have a couple of other questions that are slightly less related to the con that we will be answering. But I want to get through a couple more updates about 2019 because they relate to stuff that has come up in chat or other questions. So the first is that remember that we have a Trello, and this Trello has all sorts of cool ideas. Like, you know, it's already got like a card for like a slideshow and a new music video and stuff like that. So you can see what people have already posted. And I just linked that in the YouTube chat, and it's in the topic of all staff. You can see what people have already suggested. You can suggest new stuff. I've actually been going through the Trello like, you know, once every few weeks and making sure that all the cards there are up to date. There's some of the stuff that's already being worked on, like, for example, the 5K or the Rocky Horror at BronyCon. So if you see cards, especially ones that you're really passionate about helping make happen, then please leave a comment on them so that the person who created the card and maybe will be driving that idea forward knows that you're interested and down to help out.
You could also totally like and subscribe to some of those Trello cards. And I'm not joking, just to make a joke here.
Yeah. I was going to think about that as a joke and dismissed it as a terrible idea. So
I take those terrible ideas and I make them reality.
There's definitely some good stuff on there that I'm sure some of you will want to keep an eye on. Like there's you know, BronyCon bonfire, right? Like who doesn't want to light things on fire in a safe environment? And
like the Baltimore Convention Center
on 2012. So aside from that,
now for those people who are wondering, I believe the point of contact to get in would be just the invite link at the top of all staff.
Yes.
You should be able to be invited right to the board at that point. They make an app for Android, iOS. It works great. Sometimes.
Yes. So Chibi is totally correct. I just linked what's hopefully the invite link. Maybe not. I'm not sure. But if you're having any trouble with Trello, feel free to just message me and I can talk you through it.
When I click the link, it says board not found if I'm not on my Chrome with the BronyCon. Yeah,
you do have to have a Trello account. So you can't just view this as a not signed in user.
Gotcha.
If you have an @BronyCon email address, it's very easy to just create an account because you can just sign into Trello with your BronyCon.org Google email address. If you don't have one, it's a little more complicated, but not impossible. So just let us know. Chibi, you already talked about the goalpost, right?
Yes, I did. Yeah.
Cool.
And stumbled over every word that I had.
No worries. So this was the theme of this little bit of talking was what's coming up in 2019. And so the other really cool thing that we're very excited to tell you all about is our theme for this year, courtesy of our wonderful design team, Lauren and Emily. We are going to be this year themed around secrets. So think spy noir, clandestine, secret agents, super top secret special missions, all that sort of good stuff. And this year, we're looking at a couple ways to make the theme even more interactive than before, and ways to really bring in all of the attendees and staff and get them in on this really cool theme that we have. So stay tuned. This is like a super exciting project. I am really, really excited to see where it goes, and I think that you're all going to love it. So one last bit of like stuff that we have written down, notes business, and then we can keep rolling on the questions and just chatting about whatever people are curious about. If there's stuff that you want us to talk more detail about, again, feel free to just ping us and say so. But we have a little mini job board. So these are some things, some projects that are looking for people to help out with. So the first one is, what were you saying, Chibi?
I didn't know that we were going to be announcing the theme. That took me by surprise.
Yes, I put that in the doc last minute as a surprise. More as a, I knew I was going to announce this, but forgot to put it in the doc until just now. Surprise.
I'm sitting here like, oh no.
I put it in the doc last minute as a note because I had it in my head and I knew it was going to be something that we talked about. I just spaced on adding it to the notes.
But yeah, secrets is going to be fantastic. Okay, sorry. I'll sit back and continue on.
It was very, very, very secret. I think we did a really good job, keeping the lid on that one. So job board. I'm interested in trying to find out like a way to maybe we can have like a Trello or Google Doc or something for sort of like an internal staff job board. Like, hey, you already work from BronyCon, but maybe you want to get involved in another project. So some of the stuff on like the BronyCon 2019 Trello is the BronyCon 2019 Trello is already kind of a bit like a job board. Like if there's something that you really want to make happen, then you could probably lead that project up. Like for example, I'm trying to pick one that's not the ball pit. Like, okay, so we have a card for like a pony plushie party, which I think was something that happened at GalaCon or another con in Europe and was really popular with their attendees. So if that's something that you see and you're like, oh wow, I'd really like to make that happen, then you could be the project leader for that. It'd be great. But for bigger projects that aren't necessarily on the Trello, we have a couple of those. So the first one is a project that in past years has been called Confab. And this is basically inviting other convention runners or con chairs to our event and putting together some events for them to socialize, network, and get to know each other. So this is a really good way, beyond the convention trade tables that we already offer, to build up a community of event leaders and staffers. And this would also be really, really helpful with some of the other ideas that we have about what I think it was called like Spriggs' Home for Wayward Staffers on here or something. This also ties in really well with hopefully getting BronyCon staffers who want to keep working for events after BronyCon is over, positions at other events. So if you'd be interested in helping put this together, this would involve finding other event leaders to invite, doing the paperwork for inviting them and getting them badges, setting up some networking events, and putting them in touch with BronyCon staffers who might want to work for their event. So if you are curious about that, please reach out to me. You can just send me a message on Slack or an email, sheva@bronycon.org, anytime. The second one is a little different. Last year, some of you might have heard we were talking about doing a staff-only event before BronyCon. So this would have been like a day or two in the spring where we all got together in Baltimore and met up as a group, maybe ate pizza together, and worked to plan out BronyCon. This would have been a really good time to form inter-staff connections and also get some convention work done. Unfortunately, it didn't happen because I came up with the idea and tried to execute it, and we just didn't have enough time. But this year, we're planning ahead. It's a revolutionary concept, I know. If you would potentially like to help plan this, I would love some more help in doing that. So that position would involve things like making sure that we can hotel rooms, or maybe scheduling different sessions. So like panels for staffers by staffers, like a panel for the events department to like help sort through panel applications or something. I'm not signing them up for that, just giving it as an example. If you'd be interested in helping out with that kind of thing, please message me or send me an email. And finally, we have 2 positions from Viper. So Viper is looking to hire 2 on-site leads to the team. They're going to be sending out an email soon, but for all of you who are able to watch this meeting, you get the special heads up. You're in the know ahead of everyone else. So one of the positions is the Autographs Hall lead deputy. So that's going to be supporting the work of the Autograph Hall team while on site at BronyCon 2019. So you'll be helping organize the Autograph Hall and ensuring that it runs safely, securely, and efficiently. The second is Viper Operations Lead Deputy. So that's going to be supporting the work of the operations team while on site at BronyCon. It's going to be helping out with the organization of the dispatch and the Viper pit space and help make Viper better at communicating. And again, they're going to be sending out an email with all of the details soon. But if you have questions in the meantime, you can message Scout on Slack. Okay, that's what I got for like all of the actual written notes that we have down. So from here on out, we got 22 minutes of this time together, and this is entirely your chance to ask us to talk about random things, whether or not they are ball pits or actual serious questions about 2019. If you ask it, we will talk about it. Not guaranteed, but we'll do our best.
But first, this stream is sponsored by NordVPN, Squarespace, and also... Nah, just kidding.
Oh, God, no. At least you didn't say Blue Apron. I have sworn to never subscribe to them because I'm so sick of their podcast advertisements.
For Dollar Shave Club.
Yeah, okay. Well, so, okay, that's actually best podcast ad that would be a good topic of debate. I like Casper ads myself, but I didn't buy a Casper mattress. I got Tuft and Needle. Anyway. We have a couple of other questions in chat, so let me just paste them into our little chat here.
I think the last one we did was, I think the retro, will there be a panel of memories? And then I think we started just posting them and then having to get back onto serious topics there for a second.
Yeah.
That's up at 8:24.
Sorry, the one from Val? Or...
Val was the next one, and Val asked, is there going to be a summary after this? And that was, he sent that differently, and I'm guessing he means like the summary or like a video copy of this and announcements.
Yes, so this is being recorded. So the recording will be available on YouTube shortly after the meeting ends, and there will be notes. The notes won't encompass everything, like all of these questions that we're answering. But it will encompass all of the serious talked about. GB, do you want to get the next one from Coding Gale?
Coding Gale.
Or is it Coding Ale? I think it might be Coding Ale. But anyway, go on.
I like Coding Gale. I'm going to emphasize that G. And that one was...
Cats, dogs, or bats?
Cats, dogs, or bats. I'm totally biased, by the way.
Yeah.
Ironically, this was clearly based on knowing us at least half decently.
Cats are jerks, bats are rats with wings, and doggos are fantastic. There we go.
Cats are the best because they don't give a shit about you, and therefore require very low maintenance, but still sometimes want petting, unlike bats, which will bite you and give you rabies.
Okay, all right. Hold on. Anti-bat propaganda. First of all, have you ever seen a bat? They are adorable, they are fuzzy, they are extremely cute. Some of them eat fruit, and some of them are really cuddly. Bats are great.
It is a well-known fact that you should never touch a bat. The most important Telegram sticker conclusively proves this.
All right. Sometimes touch a bat.
I would like to propose, though, that the ultimate there is the currently non-existent cat bat or bat cat. Although I think bat cat fights crime, whereas cat bat just, like flies around eating bugs at night or something.
So, Walrus Supreme Toast Ghost here. Are there any plans of any kind after 2019? People moving on to other conventions and mass or spiritual successors, or is 29 the end of the road?
So I think there's two answers to this question. One of what is BronyCon, what is after 2019 for BronyCon, and then what is after 2019 for BronyCon staffers. And what's after for BronyCon is not so much. This is going to be the end of BronyCon as we know it. There's not going to be any kind of like secret BronyCon 2020 or like BronyCon, but it's, you know, just like one day now or anything like that. You know, beyond BronyCon living on in our hearts and whatever. Maybe BronyCon will be able to appear at like, I don't know, as like a panel track at some other convention, or like in conjunction with another event that wants a bunch of really talented staffers to come and like put on an escape room or like a Q&A about the details of My Little Pony. I don't know. There's a ton of different ways that we can keep BronyCon's spirit and name alive and well. And I think that we're going to keep looking into those and thinking about them. But there's not going to be any kind of really like spiritual successor event as like a sort of convention, if that makes sense. Anything that we're looking at for after 2019 is a totally different ballgame. And then, so what's next for BronyCon staff is I hope that some people here got the convention staffing bug and are interested in staffing other events, because I would love to be able I would love to have that be something that we can facilitate at like a grand level. So like if you worked BronyCon and it was your first con working it and you were like, you just fell in love with it, which I know happened to a lot of people here, then I think it would be really awesome if we could work together to make sure that every staffer who feels that way can go find a home and another staff. All right. There's another question from Midnight Eclipse. What's the strangest thing to happen at BronyCon you guys have been involved in? It's a shame it says at BronyCon, because I have a truly bizarre story that happened to me at BabsCon 2 years ago. Like, head and shoulders stranger. But Chibi or Dex, do either of you have a question, an answer to this question that you would like to propose?
Pre-con or at-con? Sorry, Dex, go on and Ed.
No, I'm like strange. I was thinking out loud. Go ahead. I don't have an answer yet. This requires you know, heavy contemplation, because some of those answers are things that could suffice here, can't be said aloud because there are pacts to never speak of it again.
I don't know of anything truly bizarre, because it always honestly goes by in such a blur for me over the 4 days down in Baltimore, that I can't remember specifically. I'm gonna have to think on it. I mean, I've had my first year calling medical for the art show, and a attendee was walking around, and I had stepped out to talk to Screw Loose at the time. And I come back, and I see everyone huddled over by an art piece. So as art show manager, I just walked over there. Apparently, the attendee's kneecap had blown out the side of his leg. Not like physically, but you saw it completely jaded and off to the side. And I'm like, huh, that's peculiar. That's not supposed to be there.
Okay, I remember my answer now. This was BronyCon 2014, and a bunch of friends and I, they got in a suite in one of the hotels, you know, so that we had a space for our social group to like hang out and have fun together all weekend. So on Thursday, we went shopping and acquired enough supplies for the weekend, mostly in alcohol form, and we're bringing this all back. And we come in the lobby within the hotel, sort of takes one, looks like, you guys need to go put that in your car. So we take it back out into the parking garage. It literally had a hotel staffer like peeking out of the door to make sure we were doing this. Get out, get to where they're not, proceed to call our friends upstairs in the suite to bring down some suitcases for us, whereupon we loaded this all up in said suitcases, and then they, since the hotel staff had not made them, proceeded to bring everything in suitcases, and we came by like 5 minutes later and see, we don't have anything. And then we had a nice, wonderful weekend from that point onward.
Normally hotels don't bother you with just like a bottle or two. Just how much did you buy?
Well, again, we had a suite, and our friend group had like 15 or so people in it, so...
That's
A lot of alcohol.
That's a lot of alcohol. Wow. Okay, so again, if you want to hear the BabsCon story, which is much, much funnier than anything I got for BronyCon, hit me up. But strangest thing that ever happened to me at BronyCon. Okay, all right. This is maybe not so strange. Well, I find it strange because it was an extremely big mistake on my part, and I still don't understand how I made it. But we have this badge tier called the 3 Day Plus, and 3 Day Plus sponsors, or sorry, 3 Day Plus are not sponsors, but they have the option to buy a sponsor T-shirt. So one year, I sent over the numbers for sponsor shirts to design so that they could order the shirts, and I just completely forgot to include any of the 3 Day Plus people who said that they wanted to buy a shirt in that number. So we had enough shirts for all the sponsors and not a single shirt for any of the 3 Day Plus people. So that was really bad. And Emily, the wonderful, wonderful deputy of design, spent a long time fixing my mistake from that. Huge thanks to Emily. So yeah, strange how sometimes we just completely forget to do really important things. Yeah, that's about all I got. Also, one time I lost my badge. The first year I ran registration, I managed to lose my badge on Thursday night. That was also great.
So what's the BabsCon story?
The BabsCon story, the BabsCon story is kind of long. Let's
save it for like a textual.
Yeah, okay, I'm gonna save the BabsCon story because we have some actual questions. But if we have time at the end, I can tell a brief version of it. I'll type a little thing in chat so that I don't forget. Hippo. Radios was thinking about having all staffers get ham radio licensing and buy everyone a $20 Amazon radio. I am all for this. Next question. Actually, not a question. It's from Joshua Beaver, aka Eagle. He wants me to remind you all that there's a public chat for the BronyCon podcast. The channel is called BronyCon Cast. If you're interested in the podcast progress, please hop over to that in Slack. He's been doing a really great job keeping everyone updated and posting all sorts of interesting stuff about how things are going with the podcast.
The first episode has been fully recorded.
Yeah.
All the segments came in. So if you guys want to hear my beautiful dysfunctional voice for a good solid 15 minutes, be sure to check out the podcast.
I'm excited. It'll be great. It'll be great. From Amethyst. Are the 2019 hotel applications open? Because it looks like they are from the staff public folder. So they are not open yet. I think what happened is that the folder just got copied over, including the 2018 application. Don't apply for your hotel room and expect it to be recorded on that forum, please. The chief of staff department is almost definitely not monitoring it. I defer to them, and I see that I think Dex already pinged them to double check. But let's say for now the hotel applications are not open, and don't worry, we will be very, very clear and loud about announcing when they are open.
You'll have multiple reminders for that matter as that deadline is approaching to make sure that it is not
channel so hard.
Heck yeah, there will be so many ad channels. Who would win in the fight? A narwhal, unicorn, or rhino? Dex, go.
Well, let's see here. First off, this depends upon like what the forum for fighting is. For example, if this is fully on land, the narwhal's at an incredible disadvantage. Whereas if it's in the water, the narwhal's at an incredible advantage. So we need to have some sort of hybrid environment which has both land and water here. So like I'm envisioning, you know, say a football field sized arena with multiple islands and like bridges between them to allow the rhino and the unicorn to be able to take advantage of charging. I believe in this scenario, though, the narwhal is still likely to take it because the narwhal can do leaping attacks out of the water that the others will have a much harder time, you know, repelling. I suppose it depends how well the narwhal can proceed to, like, jump out of the water, gore something while it's doing an aerial, and then make it safely back into the aquatic environment.
That was a very detailed answer. I feel like
they did the math.
Like more than just the last couple minutes since we got that question. That's
that was all from the moment you asked me it. I had not looked at that question prior to that point.
QB, do you have an answer?
Yeah, narwhals. Narwhals because they swim in the ocean, they cause a commotion because they are so awesome.
Narwhals are pretty great. I agree.
I think we're basically 3 for 3 for narwhal now. Unless the unicorn in question is pre-Alicorn Twilight Sparkle, in which case, or Starlight Glimmer for that matter, in which case unicorn hands down.
I don't know. My vote's just gonna have to go to narwhal, just because narwhals. Okay, we have two more actually serious questions. One from Kibby. What's happening to the BC Twitter after the con is over? That's a really good question. I haven't thought about that yet. I'm definitely curious about what events that no longer run tend to do with their Twitter. I guess offhand, probably the credentials will go to a few. They'll stay with a few trusted people. Maybe we'll post things every now and then if we're able to have a presence at any other kind of event. But I don't expect that we'll keep the feed active unless for some reason that's something that somebody really wants to do. Kiwi, if you're signing yourself up, let me know.
You know, if BronyCon becomes sentient like that one night a month or two ago and starts asking questions, well, then she'd control her own Twitter.
Yeah, that's also a possibility.
Wait, with the BC Twitter?
Yeah, the BC Twitter.
I would pale in comparison to Kibby being able to run it. Kibby is on point with some of the posts.
I'm not trying to sign him up for anyone.
We're not saying yes, Kibby, but we're not saying no.
we're saying, you know, talk with us if you have ideas for what you want to happen with a Twitter after 2019. We can work something out.
If you want to turn it into, let's say, the next Wendy's account, absolutely. I saw that comment.
That's what I said. We're not saying yes, but we're not saying no to. Because I would kind of argue that at times the BC Twitter basically has become the next Wendy's account, or at least stake them.
Well, hey, so if any of you don't know, there's this account called Nihilist BronyCon, which is like really, really something else. I guess I'll just link it in the YouTube chat here, just in case any of you haven't seen it. But anyway, enjoy.
Charles Etherwood, what is happening to Lunar Solace?
Yeah, from Charles Etheridge. So what's happening to Lunar Solace is we expect to keep Lunar Solace. We expect to keep Lunar Solace as a C3 as long as we are able to do so. Without Lunar Solace, we can't hang on to things like the BronyCon trademark. So if we are able to keep the nonprofit running, then that's definitely something that we need to continue to do. If you're asking if Lunar Solace is going to run any other events, there's no plans for anything like that. Lunar Solace, after 2019, will very likely remain open mostly to keep preserving BronyCon's assets. Chris Smoot. A question about electronic powered hoverboards. What is staffing them? So this isn't necessarily a staff policy so much as a BCC policy. And I think the BCC says hard no on those. I can ask Josh Dean, who's our venue and hotel liaison, just to double check, but I'm pretty sure that we can't use those things inside the BCC. Outside the BCC, totally cool to use them. I know we have some staffers that have electric unicycles or boosted boards, electric skateboards, cool stuff like that. So definitely feel free to bring it and ride it around the streets of Baltimore. But inside the convention center, I do not believe that is something that is permitted. I think there was one more question in chat. I might have. If you could fight a giraffe, would you win? Okay.
I feel like this is my area of expertise at this moment, so I need a clarifying question. Are we allowed to have weapons? Or is this a bare hand? If so, what is the limit?
We do not need a scientific definition for 5 minutes.
That's my point. If it's barehanded, you're probably screwed. If you're allowed to have something that's stabby or otherwise bullety, that giraffe's going down.
I don't think you're screwed because giraffes are like they're pacifists, right? I think it would. I think it would basically be fine. And just to interject, Chibi, if you would like to weigh in further on the giraffe question after, that's cool. But we got a.
I can't stick my neck out that far.
Oh, that was pretty good. Okay, from Mr. Gregory Chant. I'm planning on using the hotel room provided for staff for the first time. How much is the fee for next year, and which hotels do you use? So the fee this past year was $20 for 4 days, I think, Thursday night through Sunday night.
It was $20.
$20.
Yeah, for the
period.
entire weekend.
Yeah.
It's just that if you had a reason to be there that was, you know, validated by your department head, etc., then you could be coming in on Wednesday potentially.
Yes. So, and what hotels do we use? We have just a couple of rooms at the Baltimore Hilton. We have a whole lot of rooms at the Marriott across the street, and we also have some at the Days Inn, which is just a block away. So the assignment to who's in what room is pretty much random. Let's see if we have any other questions in chat. Wow, I actually think that's it. Oh, wait, hold on. Mike asks, have shoes been classified as a weapon yet? Hilarious, Mike. Hilarious. Anyway, well, I guess
What was that?
I guess I'll tell the BabsCon story really quickly because we have 3 minutes left. And if any serious questions come in, then those take priority over this story. So I ran Viper for BabsCon for a couple of years, and one morning, I got a call at like 7 or 8 a.m. from one of my staffers saying that they couldn't get into the green room and they had to get in to get the car keys for the rental vehicle that were in there to go pick up the VIPs from downtown San Francisco where they were staying. So I was really annoyed about being woken up so early because I got a late night, and I like rolled myself over to the door and was like, try this key, and handed him another key and said, all right, like, tell me if it doesn't work. But I was sure it was going to work, right? Like, you know, he just messed up the key and couldn't get in the room. So he called me and said that this key didn't work either. So now I was like, all right, there's clearly something wrong. I called our hotel liaison and we went down to the front desk and we got new keys, and those keys also didn't work.
Oh, that story.
Yeah.
I remember this.
For part of this.
What do you mean? You woke me up.
I'll get to that point. So those keys also didn't work. And at this point I was like, all right, something's seriously wrong. So the hotel asked me what color the door flashed, and I said it was orange, and they said, okay, well, that means that the door is locked from the inside. And at this point, I was kind of starting to freak out because like there was no one staying in the room. It was the green room, right? Like that's just where the VIPs go for snacks. There shouldn't have been anyone in there, and the door definitely should not have been locked. Like I locked down the room the night before and it was totally empty. So they were like, all right, we're going to send up the building engineer to get the door open, and just like a security guard too for good measure. And I was like, all right, cool. And meanwhile, I figured like I needed to account for everyone who had a key to the green room, which included Dex. So I frantically started messaging everyone asking for Dex's whereabouts and like, is she in the green room? Is she asleep in there? Like that's fine, but oh my God, can she please wake up and open the door because we're gonna have VIPs showing up pretty soon.
Suffice to say, I was asleep in my hotel room where I was supposed to be.
It wasn't Dex's fault.
It was much better than that.
He was fine. So the engineer sits down at the door with like wire and pliers and like a saw and just goes to work on it. And I'm sitting out there with like 2 or 3 other staffers just like watching him try and get this door open. And eventually he manages it, and the door swings open, and then it goes like, because like somebody swung the privacy lock from the inside too. So the door is like doubly locked, and he manages to get that one open. At this point, we're all just like, oh my God, who is inside the room? Because there's clearly somebody in there who has locked the door twice on us. And the security guard walks in, and like we all follow really cautiously behind him. And he walks, so it was a suite. So there was like this big living room area, and then there was a bedroom, and the door to the bedroom was closed. And it had been open the night before when I locked down the room. And the security guard walks over to the bedroom, and he bangs on the door, and no one answers. And then he bangs on the door again. And this woman that none of us have ever seen opens the door, screams something, and slams it shut again. So anyway, at this point, we've dispatched like another vehicle to pick up the VIPs, and I'm just like hoping that none of the VIPs want to go to the green room before we figure out what's happening. And the security guard manages to get the door open, and there's a woman there who is very clearly not a part of BabsCon. She's like like maybe, I don't know, in her 30s or something, and she claims not to speak any English, and none of us have ever seen her before. And she obviously had no place in our green room. And so the security guard starts speaking with her in Spanish. And I got the translation later from one of my friends. The conversation went something like, how did you get into this room? I don't know. My husband got the room. Okay, where's your husband? I don't know. How did you get into the room? I don't know. Do you know when he's coming back? I don't know. And at one point, she apparently claimed that she spoke Italian, but her Italian was worse than her Spanish. So, yeah, it's kind of a mystery what this lady was up to or where she. But after a while, the security guard was like, "Okay, you have to vacate this room in 10 minutes." And she's like 20, and he's like 10, and she's like, "Fine." And she stomps off and slams the door. And 10 minutes later, she comes out, and she's like dressed really, really nicely, and she has a really nice suitcase, and she just like stomps out of the room in high heels and slams the door behind her. And meanwhile, I'd been checking over the green room to see if anything was missing, and nothing was missing except for the rental car keys. Because, like, remember, the entire reason we were trying to get into the room in the first place was for the rental car keys. And as she's leaving, I'm like, oh my God, she has the rental car keys. She's going to steal the car. So I sent down a couple of staffers to, like, stand guard around the car. And I told the security guard, and he was like, well, like, we can't exactly pat her down or anything. So I ran into the bedroom to see if she had just, like, taken the keys but left them behind. And I tore the room apart, and the keys were nowhere to be found. And just as I was about to, like, just totally collapse on the floor because I had no idea what to do, I thought about checking the pocket of the bathrobe, because she was wearing a bathrobe when she first opened the door, and they were there in the pocket of the bathrobe. And it turns out that right before she left the hotel, she told the hotel security that she needed to get back into the room because she left something there. And when they asked her what she left, she said her rental car keys. So that's the story of how somebody tried to steal one of our rental vehicles at BabsCon and failed. Okay, so that's the strangest thing that's ever happened to me.
You at least left out the silver lining to that story, though, what we found afterwards.
She left behind a very small bottle of very nice scotch. And so that night, I got a bunch of people up to the green room and poured everyone a shot of scotch. Never, ever take a shot of nice scotch. It is a crime. You should not do it. I will find you. But in this one case, I decided it would be okay. So I recounted the story, and then we all did a shot and toasted our mystery friend who did not succeed in stealing the vehicle, but at least got to stay in the green room for a night. It's 6:04. The meeting's been over for 4 minutes.
We got one last one item. If I could just take care of it real quick. Charles Etheridge.
Wait. Can I take care of one last thing? Did she eat all the food? No, she didn't actually eat any of the food, which I thought was really surprising. I thought that she ate one of our cookies because we got like these cute cookies decorated like Pinkie Pie, but it turns out it was one of our staff who ate the cookie. So I was fuming that she had dared eat a Pinkie Pie cookie, and then our green room staffer very sheepishly said, "Actually, that was me." Anyway, we do have one last serious question. Chibi, go for it.
Okay, with Lunar Soul still managing assets and brands, would they be in a position to help other events? I'm going to preface this with saying Lunar Souls does have a public channel on our Slack, ask-lunar-solus. So if you want to ask any questions directly to the board, they have their own channel. But Sheva, take it away, because you're also a board member.
Oh, that is correct. Well, okay, so I think that human resources are definitely something that Lunar Solus will always be able to dispatch. So like our collective expertise as a board in running events is something that I expect all of us will be happy to help and offer other events. As for specific assets, that's a lot more tricky of a question to answer. So brands, probably not. I don't think that we're going to be like loaning our trademarks or our IP to other events, unless we maybe do some sort of partnership with them where we're having a BronyCon presence at the event. And tangible assets are kind of difficult to handle because you have to like send somebody to get them out of the storage unit and then make sure that they're not damaged in transport there and back. But all that said, if we have something specific that would really help out another event, then that's definitely something that we can talk about and look into. We have one last really, really important question. Pizza. Is it an open-faced sandwich? I say no, but if you put two pieces of pizza together, that is definitely a sandwich.
All depends. Are we talking like a Brooklyn style? Are we talking Chicago deep dish? Are we talking about LA's pizza?
Let's say like New York style.
Oh yeah, if you're going for Brooklyn, you're folding that thing in half and you're jamming it in your face. That is a closed face sandwich at that point. If you're like Chicago deep dish, no, that's garbage.
Oh, ouch.
I will shoot the fire because we over here in New York have clearly the best pizza.
You're just Frank in chat says, I think it is if you slap one on someone's open face. And let me tell you, I'm thinking about doing that to Chibi right about now.
I'll second that.
Yeah, whatever. You take your deep dish pie, and I'll take my Brooklyn pizza. Thank you.
Look, it's delicious. It's just delicious. Okay. It doesn't matter what.
Well, here, this I think all hinges on a key definition, namely that, like, does pizza's dough count as bread? I would say no, even though it's basically made in the same way, but it is specifically leavened and made to rise as part of the like pizza making process.
I would say yes. I think it's bread. It's bready. Like, what defines a? All right, we're wandering into deep philosophy territory. I'm gonna keep the chat going for like keep the stream up for like a little while longer. But like, just to clarify, we are done with official business. We will not be talking about anything else of importance. Probably if somebody asks a good question, then I'm a sucker for answering good questions. But like, we're done. I promise.
Well, according to the literal dictionary definition of bread, a food made of flour, water, and yeast or another leavening agent, which pizza dough 100% is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then pizza dough is bread. An open-faced sandwich specifically is defined as a single piece of bread with a savory topping. So based upon dictionary definitions, yes, it is an open-faced sandwich.
That's I think that's a pretty strong argument in favor of it. Like, honestly, you might have won me over with that one. Wow, I never thought that I could update my viewpoint on something so quickly. Yeah, pizza's an open-faced sandwich. You heard it here first.
For those who still have questions, don't forget, you can always ask us messages by shooting at chairs, or each of us are a DM, or just asking questions in like all staff or something. You don't need to wait for like all hands meeting for you to speak up and ask a question. Yes, you could always ask stupid questions like this too, and we'll answer
Stupid
that just as sarcastically.
Are deeply welcomed by Chippy in particular. He thrives on them. Like, Chippy only pretends to feed off of normal food, but in reality, he derives sustenance from memes and other kinds of immature humor.
Incredible.
Oh, yeah.
So basically, in order to avoid our doggo starving.
I might have just gotten let me see if I can ask this question to the other two of you.
And Fizzbuzz does say yes, there is also the Discord server, and you can get the link by typing !Discord, and also into Slack. And also in their Slack Discord channel, because, you know, obviously having one chat relay inside of another isn't as confusing enough, but the Slack Discord channel exists too, and it has a link there as well.
We have another extremely important sandwich question. If you were stranded on a desert island and could have one sandwich, what would it be? Asks Anon. My answer to this, which I already provided to them in chat, was BLT, because lettuce has a high water content.
I'm going to go with the everlasting gobstopper sandwich.
I think that's cheating, but okay.
There was no requirement in the question that the sandwich had to be possible.
I would like to think that that was implied, but you know, you're right. Playing by the rules. Chibi, what about you?
What was the question? I'm sorry, I was answering a breed question.
If you were stranded on a desert island and could have one sandwich, what would it be?
A Philly cheesesteak, because it's still better than a Chicago deep dish pizza.
Oh, ouch! Wow.
You just really want to like burn Chicago right now.
Chibi, I don't think you've ever had good deep dish.
That's okay. You say Chicago O'Hare, I say bye.
Oh my god. I'm offended on behalf of the Chicago people channel. Wow, that's fighting words.
I've got a slight story about the first, my first interaction with a con chair entering BronyCon, and I got really scared.
Okay.
So, for those who don't know, Desert Grissus and I kind of live in the same neck of woods, and we often hang out. So Desert was over at my place. He's like, yo, sends me a link to a picture dissing on Chicago Deep Dish Pizza. He's like, go into the Chicago People channel on Slack and post this and then leave. So this is back in 2017. You had Jenna as the con chair and Eli as co-chair. So me being 2 weeks into the con, I post that picture and bounce out of there. Eli messages me less than 5 minutes later. I found that incredibly disrespectful. And here I'm like, oh my God, that's a con chair yelling at me for making a joke. I start losing my shit.
Pat. I remember you doing that, by the way. I thought it was hilarious. Good times. Anyway, it's getting really dark in here because the sun is setting over here on the West Coast. And I would love to go downstairs and eat some dinner and also not sit in the dark anymore. What I'm going to propose is that we call this hangout done for now. But we start a hangout, not a hangout on air, just like a normal hangout in the all staff channel, so that if anyone who's around now wants to chat with some of their fellow staffers, they can keep doing that. So stay tuned for that link in all staff. Thank you all so much for coming. I hope you found this useful. If you had any questions or comments or concerns, both about how this meeting went, stuff you'd like to see in the future, or anything that we brought up, please feel free to message one of us or email chairs@BronyCon.org. And thank you all so much. I really appreciate
Follow us on Twitter, spread it on social media. That's how we get new followers. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Buy things from our sponsors. And
smash that bell icon.
Smash that.
Tweet at Griffin McElroy in particular in order to tell him how much you love the Adventure Zone.
I completely agree. All right.
Yeah, so we're going to take this over to all staff, and for those who want to chat along and actually just hang out, it's the best time ever to talk with your fellow staffers.
We'll see you all on the other side. Thanks again. Good night.